Our masjids are crying at this moment in time, and they're shedding tears of blood. We are not praying as we should be praying. We are not bowing down as we should be bowing down. We are not prostrating as we should be prostrating. We are not elevating the kalima la ilaha illallah as we should be elevating the kalima la ilaha illallah. We do not fast as we should be fasting. We are not performing the Hajj as we should be performing the Hajj. We are not giving our zakat as we should be giving zakat. We are not donating in the path of Allah as we should be donating in the path of Allah. We are not helping our Muslim brothers across the globe as we should be helping our Muslim brothers across the globe. My young friend, what excites you with regards to the Day of Judgment? Does this excite you? That you will stand before the Lord of the Arsh and Kursi. You will stand before the Lord of the heavens and the earth. My young friend, you will stand before the Lord of the entire universe, the Lord of everything that exists out there. And you will stand behind Him on that day, there will be no barrier between you and Allah. لَيْسَ بَيْنَكَ وَبَيْنَ اللَّهِ حِجَابٌ. On that day, there will be no curtain between you and Allah. There will be no veil between you and Allah. There will be no wall between you and Allah. O Insan, O Abdullah, O Abdurrahman, O Arshad, you will directly stand before the greatest of all beings on a day when Allah will be angry like never before. Picture this in your mind's eye, kid, because you're gonna be there, and you better believe it. This is no joke, my young friend. This is not entertainment. Every single one of us will come before our Master when Allah will be angry like never before. On a day when Allah will punish like no being within this universe can punish. You will come and you will stand before Him, and He will make you pay in a manner no being within this universe can make you pay. He will hold you to account, my young friend, for every breath that you took whilst you were alive. He will hold you to account for every second of life that you lived. He will hold you to account for every word your tongue uttered. He will hold you to account for every sin that you committed. He will hold you to account for every wrong that you did whilst you were in the dunya. I ask you, my young friend, is this what excites you with regards to the akhirah? Is this what excites you with regards to the hereafter? Is this what excites you with regards to the final hour? I ask you, my young friend, is this what excites you? You will come on the plane of resurrection. What do you think you will see? You will see the creation of Allah. You will see Jahannam, a huge creation of Allah. Allah has sworn, لَأَمْلَأَنَّ جَهَنَّمَ مِنَ الْجِنَّةِ وَالنَّاسِ أَجْمَعِينَ. Your little mind, my little mind cannot even comprehend the size of Jahannam. And Allah is swearing, I will fill Jahannam with the humankind. I will fill Jahannam with the jinn kind. Jahannam contains all types of punishment. Punishment which my little mind cannot conceive. Punishment which your little mind cannot conceive. From scorpions to snakes to zamharir. And then the fire of Jahannam. A fire which is more hotter than any fire that you will find within this universe. Any fire that you will find within the dunya. The fire of hell is 100 times more hotter than any fire that you find inside the dunya. And the fire of hell, my young friend, is not yellow or orange like you find in the dunya. The fire of hell, my young friend, is absolutely black. Jahannam contains the fire of hell. You will see that Jahannam will be brought on the plane of resurrection. It will have 70,000 rains. On every rain, there will be 70,000 angels pulling, bringing Jahannam. As Jahannam on that day will be angry like never before, because Allah will be angry like never before. And when Jahannam is brought on the plane of resurrection and Jahannam takes a breath, believe me kid, you're gonna be there, you're gonna see this, you're gonna be part of this movie, you're gonna be the producer, you're gonna be the director, and you're gonna be the main star. When Jahannam is brought on that plane of resurrection, every man from the first to the last will fall flat in prostration before the Lord of the Arsh and Kursi. Every man from the first till the last, where they will fall flat in prostration and they will begin to beg like they've never begged in their entire lives. They will beg Allah for His mercy, they will beg Allah for His raham karam, and they will beg Allah for His protection. I ask you, my young friend, what excites you with regards to the akhirah? What excites you with regards to the day of judgment? This, that you will be there, and see if you can picture this in your mind's eye. See if you can visualize this in your mind's eye. Because kid, this is no joke, this is reality. You're gonna be there, you're gonna see this, you better believe it. You're gonna see this, you're gonna be there. يحشر الناس على أرض بيضاء أفراء. It will be the greatest congregation ever seen. It's just a doddle in comparison to what you're going to see on the day of judgment. Every single man that Allah has ever created, from the first man till the last man, will be on a flat white plane. The earth will be stretched like rubber. Have you seen an elastic band? The earth will be stretched. There will be no trees, there will be no mountains, no refuge, no place to hide. Every single man that Allah has created, from the first man, Hazrat Adam alayhi salam, to the last man that Allah will create before the day of judgment, will be on this flat white plane. Can you imagine the heat? If this is how much heat in this masjid at this moment in time, just 2,000-3,000 people sitting in this gathering, if this is the heat that it's generating, can you imagine how much heat billions and billions of people that Allah has created at this moment in time? There are several billion people. How many people do you think Allah has created from the first man till the last man? They will all be there. Nobody will be able to hide. There is no refuge, there is no escape. No heaven will give you shelter, no earth will you be able to hide. Not only the humankind, my young friends, all the jinn kind, and the jinn kind outnumber the humankind by thousands and thousands and thousands. All of the jinn kind will be on the plane of resurrection. All the shayateen that Allah has ever created will be on the plane of resurrection. Every animal that Allah has ever created will be on the plane of resurrection. Picture this in your mind's eye. So you've got these zillions and zillions of people from the first to the last on this flat white plane, and you will be standing so close together that you will be literally on top of one another. You will literally be on top of one another. You will be so close together that our beloved Nabi Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that on the day of judgment, feet will be like arrows in a pouch. Have you seen arrows in a pouch? All on top of one another, so close together. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is saying, feet of mankind on that day will be like arrows in a pouch. Fortunate will be that person who can find a place for his feet on the day of judgment. You will not be able to find a place to put your foot on the ground, so it's actually touching the zameen, so it's actually touching the earth. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is saying, you'll be on top of one another. Fortunate will be that person out of those zillions that can get some stability for his feet, that his feet can actually touch the ground. So billions and billions of people. And then next, how much heat do you think that will generate? You know, if that doesn't kill you, then you know what? After this, Allah will bring the sun closer. The sun will be brought close. How far is the sun at this moment in time? The scientists say the sun is millions and millions of miles away. It's been a hot day today. 30 degrees, 35 degrees, and what do you see? Off will come the trousers. Off will come the t-shirt. We can't tolerate the heat. 30 degrees, 35 degrees, we can't tolerate it. We can't sleep at night. We become itchy, agitated. We become restless. We begin to toss and turn. It's too much for our bodies. 30, 35 degrees. I ask you, my young friend, when you're standing so close, zillions and zillions of you, and then the sun is brought close to you, how close do you think the sun will be brought? My young friends, our beloved Nabi Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, it will be literally 1 mile from your heads. And the second meaning, and many a muhaddithin has taken this meaning, mil in Arabic is that needle which you use to place surma inside your eyes. Needle which you use to place antimony collyrium inside your eyes, which literally is about this big. So the sun will literally be around 1 span above your head. Tell me, my young friend, millions and millions of people on top of one another, if that doesn't kill you, and then you've got to deal with the sun, which will literally be above your head. And yeah, you're right, you're gonna sweat like you've never sweated in your entire life. And you know, this sweat that you will sweat, it will be down to the sins that you committed. The more sins that you committed in the dunya, the more sweat you will be in the hereafter on the day of judgment. This is why when you're standing there amongst these zillions and zillions of people, you can't move to your right, you can't move to your left. Everyone's intermingled on the plane of resurrection. You're standing there. Next to you is a shaitan. Next to him is an animal. Next to him is a jinn. Next to him is something else. Like this, everyone's intermingled. Man next to beast, beast next to jinn, jinn next to shaitan, shaitan next to animal. So you can't move to your right, you can't move to your left. The sun above your head, and now you begin to sweat. You will see people there. Some of them are in sweat according to their ankles. Some of them, their sweat is up to their knees. Some of these people, they are in sweat up to their waist. Some of these people, they're in sweat up to their chest. And some of them are literally in sweat up to their necks. And they're struggling to keep their heads above the sweat, their own sweat. They are literally drowning in their own sweat. If you're in sweat because of your sins, according to up to your ankles, my young friend, the person next to you can be in sweat right up to his waist because of his sins. Don't use aql that this can't happen, because this deen of Allah doesn't work on aql, doesn't work on intellect, though majority of the ahkam and the laws of Allah confirm to intellect. But our deen doesn't work on aql, it works on naql, it works on the teachings of Allah and His Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And even if the teachings go against the aql, but they are in accordance with the naql, we will take the teachings and we will leave our intellect to one side. Isn't that the case? When you make masa, what do you make masa on? Your leather socks, do you do it at the bottom of your feet or the top of your feet? On the top of the sock. Yeah, aql says you walk, it's the bottom of your foot that the sole touches the ground. So you should make masa at the bottom of your feet. But you make it on top. Why? Because this was the teachings of Allah and His Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We don't go by aql, we go by naql. You make tayammum in the absence of water, you will make tayammum. You will make tayammum for wudu, you will make tayammum for ghusl. Now, aql says, mitti, earth is not a purifier. If you use the earth, you don't become clean, but you become more dirty because the earth is dirty. This is what the intellect says. But we don't go by the intellect. Why? Because Allah orders in the Quran, for tayammumu sa'idan tayyiba. If you can't find water, you will make tayammum. So the deen of Allah runs on naql and not on aql. So when you're on that plane of resurrection, don't use your aql. How can that be? That when you're in a swimming pool, if you're in 5 foot of water, the guy standing next to you will be in 5 foot of water. Ain't gonna work like that on the day of judgment, my friend. If you are in sweat up to your ankles, because of the sins that you committed. It's so possible that the person next to you has committed more sin, and even though he's right next to you, he will be in sweat up to his waist. He will be in sweat up to his chest. He will be in sweat that he can barely keep his head out. And you know what? If that hasn't killed you and made you cry like you've never cried before, you know what will happen next? Now the doors of hell will be open on the plane of resurrection. The doors of hell, the fire of hell, which has become black. Why? Because Allah has given it fuel, and it's been burning for thousands and thousands of years. When you start a fire, when you add fuel, and you continuously add fuel, my young friends, the fire becomes hotter and hotter. The fire of hell has been burning for thousands and thousands of years. The doors will open and the hot air will blow in your faces and it will roast them. What do you think will happen? And you know the smell. Prophet ﷺ has described the smell on the plane of resurrection, Antonu min al-jiyaf, that the smell will be worse than rotten corpses. The smell, the most rotten corpse that you've ever come across in the dunya, the smell on the plane of resurrection will be worse than this. Yeah, in your house, what happens when a mouse dies? A small mouse dies under the floorboard and you can't locate it, you can't find it. My young friends, that stench is unbearable. You can't sleep in the same house if you've got a dead mouse inside that house. If this is the smell of one little mouse, my young friend, what do you think the smell will be like on the plane of resurrection? And when you're suffering like this, like never before, on top of one another, can't find a place for your feet, the sun above your heads, drowning in sweat, the doors of Jahannam open. You know what people are going to say to Allah? People will not be able to tolerate this, and they will begin to say to Allah, Ya Rabbi, irsaluka bi ila nar ahwan alayya mimma ajid. Oh Allah, enough, is it enough? Oh Allah, I beg you, I can't tolerate this. Oh Allah, I beg you, just do my faisla. Oh Allah, I beg you, never mind doing hisab, just send me to the fire of hell. I can't tolerate this anymore. He will say to Allah, oh Allah, the punishment of hell is a lot lighter than what I'm experiencing at this moment in time. Forget my hisab and kitab, just send me to the fire of hell. My young friends, they will be saying this because they will not be able to tolerate what will happen on the plane of resurrection. There is no comparison between what will happen on the day of judgment and what will take place in the fire of hell. What will take place on Jahannam? My young friends, the day of judgment, كان مقداره 50,000 سنة, it's just 50,000 years long, and you will suffer for those that have wronged themselves and neglecting the teachings of Allah and His Rasul and disobeyed Him and just didn't have time for Allah. You will suffer for 50,000 years long. But my young friends, what you will suffer on the day of judgment, this is just the beginning. This is just an introduction. This is just a taste for what Allah has prepared in the fire of hell, what Allah has prepared in Jahannam. Because Allah created Jahannam to punish people, and Allah can punish like no being can ever punish. And my young friends, the punishment of hell for those that don't believe is forever and ever and ever. There is no end to the punishment of Jahannam for those that don't believe.